Hello and welcome. I'm delighted to address you as part of the Institute's one-year anniversary celebration. The world in which we find ourselves today is very different from that which we might have imagined 12 months ago. In December last year, I was formulating the start of proposals to require pension trustees to report against the TCFD recommendations. I felt it was time for occupational pension schemes to take more decisive action on climate change, which is undoubtedly the major challenge of our time. The COVID-19 pandemic has not altered my view on this. Climate change remains a severe threat to our planet, to our way of life, and to the financial system. The pandemic has reminded all of us of the importance of stability in the financial and investment sector. I therefore welcome the work the Impact Investing Institute has done since its inception to drive discussion about the role the financial sector plays in society. I commend the work done to bring together investors, businesses, social enterprises, and policymakers to think about what this role should be in the 21st century. It is long overdue. I also hope the Institute is encouraged by the government's recent announcement of a green sovereign bond, which I know is something that many of you pitched for. This is a significant step forward for the UK, and it provides a real opportunity for pension schemes, many of which have a real appetite for such a green bond. And I set out my thoughts on this last Sunday in the Sunday Times. In 2019, I brought forward the changes to the regulations governing pension schemes investment. These made it absolutely clear that they should have policies on environmental, social, and governance risks and opportunities, and on stewardship. This year, we have sought to introduce climate-related governance and disclosure requirements. It is time to move beyond the uncertainty of whether or not something is ESG, that is financially material, and which therefore trustees should care about. Now is the time, I believe, to act. I don't deny that there have been challenges. However, the law has been clarified by the Law Commission and the Department for Work and Pensions. Trustees should take into account financially material ESG factors. What these factors are and whether or not they are financially material to a particular investment is a matter for the trustees to judge based on appropriate advice. Where trustees are looking at non-financially material factors, such as those relating to quality of life, there is still scope to take these into account, if they meet the Law Commission's two-part test. I don't want to diminish the concerns some trustees have raised about this area, but I take an approach that recognizes that if we fail to act on climate change and ESG, we will face greater and insurmountable challenges. Trustees, therefore, in my opinion, need to recognize the great opportunities posed by the low carbon transition. For example, I recently visited Logan Energy in East Lothian, a business specializing in designing, installation, and commissioning of hydrogen technologies. I saw firsthand the potential for green hydrogen. I've also looked at other examples, whether it's new nuclear or whether there are opportunities for large-scale solar and wind. I've done significant work, I believe, looking at the barriers to investing in illiquid investments and thinking about how these can be removed. This is all about schemes looking for opportunity and providing you with that opportunity and enabling it to happen. However, as we reflect on the first anniversary of the Institute, I also want to raise a couple of challenges in the spirit of constructively striking to improve the investment sector. Firstly, it is critical to show that the particular investments which are being increasingly labelled as impact investments are right for pension schemes. They need to demonstrate the types of consistency and returns that are needed. Secondly, we need to be alert to greenwashing and to the issue of companies labelling their activities as green or with impact, when in fact it's largely business as usual. I think we need to be very disciplined in what is labelled as impact and in understanding what is under the bonnet of these investments. I encourage the Institute to do further work in this area, and I look forward to working with you on that particular point. I know that the Institute also encourages pension schemes to use their voice as shareholders and to think about the longer-term ESG factors that may undermine a company's stability and prosperity. This is an area of increasing importance and interest to me. Many of the most severe challenges that we will face in the next decade are systemic in nature, like climate change. They will not be solved by limiting investment in one area or driving investment in another. Instead, we need a transition across the whole economy, and pension schemes can play their role in facilitating this through how they allocate capital and how they engage with and then have stewardship of that capital. I see this as an opportunity. We've seen this year how investor action with companies like BP has pushed them from being an oil and gas company into being an energy company. Finally, I want to reflect on how this area of work ties in with the other work I'm leading on as Minister for Pensions and Financial Inclusion. Pension funds are not just investors. They are guardians of other people's money. This is the key to their fiduciary role. In that role, they can't make reckless decisions or take unnecessary risks, which is why it's important that a careful and robust legal framework is in place in respect of things like ESG factors. Savers deserve clear communication, better transparency. That is why I've sought to improve the experience people have of their pensions, whether that's through the work on the pensions dashboard and simpler statements. This is part of my work to build a safer, better, greener pension. I wish the Impact Investing Institute well in its future work, and I hope you continue to support what we are doing at DWP. Thanks very much.